sun is so bright. So bright. Hold on. Whew. That's a little better. Well, howdy, and welcome to what I like to call the Midget Shed. This video may be boring to some of you and exciting to others because it's an introduction video. It's going to be an introduction to me, to the little baby cars you see behind me, and to the slightly janky and yet incredibly functional shed that they live in. A little bit about myself. My name is Peyton. That's a little bit. Yes, that's the little bit that's important to you guys. You're welcome. My name is Peyton, and I've never had a YouTube channel before. I own 3 of these cars back here. I guess that's the only other little bit you need to know. The channel is going to center around these cars. It is called the Midget Shed for a reason. A little bit of helpful information about me. I am 23. I graduated college last year with a bachelor's in mechanical engineering technology, and I don't tell you that to pretend that that's important, except that we did a lot of CAD work and a lot of stress testing and a lot of things that absolutely become apparent and useful in the work that I do here and on these cars, and especially for the future work we'll be doing, which we'll get into in a little bit. As you may notice, I have 3 very similar and yet very different cars in this shed, and I'm going to go over them one by one and why they're so different. I'm not going to start left to right because that is by far the most difficult to explain. Now we're going to start over here at this one purely because it's not even the easiest to explain. Hold on. We are going to start over here at this one because this actually is the easiest to explain, and that is only because it is the newest addition to the family of midgets. I picked this one up a couple months ago purely for the body that it had. Now, I say that in that even if it had a bad body, I wouldn't have bought it. You see, I may or may not have a problem. It was a great deal. It had a nice straight body. Its floors are not rusted out. It did come with a motor and a transmission. It came with a full drivetrain, came with the interior, came with everything I would need to actually put this thing back together and put it back on the road. However, because I can't let anything be that simple, it's not going to get its original motor. The body is nice. The drivetrain components it came with will be used probably as spare parts for the other midgets that I have now and the ones I have in the future. Again, I have a problem. So everything that I got in this package will be used. However, there are very big plans for this project, which is very exciting. We won't be starting it now or maybe in the next couple months, but this will be probably what this channel revolves around pretty soon. To give you a bit of an idea into what I'm talking about, the name for the series that this midget will be used for is Modernizing the Midget. Coming soon to theaters near you. So enough about this one, because there's really not that much history or stuff to explain. So welcome back over here. As you may have noticed, in between the last clip I was sitting here and this clip, I have been blessed by my wife with food. And what better to do with a bright orange Whataburger delivery than to eat it next to my bright orange car. Hold on. Oh, God. The Whataburger was the best part of my day. No competition. Whataburger, if you would like to sponsor this car I bought about 2.5, 3 years ago. I bought it as a daily driver. I was going to college at the time, and I was driving 45 minutes or so in a car that may make an appearance on this channel that doesn't get the greatest gas mileage. Let me know if y'all want to see more of that car. So I bought this. I was like, these get 26 to 28. I'm familiar with the platform. Why not? It's a great deal. And it was exactly that. It was a great deal for the next 2 years or so as I was going to college. I daily drove this car 40 miles on American highway speeds and did a phenomenal job. It does run and drive right now, and it's been taking me from point A to point B for the last several days, although it does have some overheating issues as well as some carburation issues. It has the Weber carb conversion and they can be finicky. This car is original paint, which is why it's not perfect, and it'll stay that way. It has the original motor, although it was rebuilt by a previous owner. It has the original interior. Some things have been changed for basic creature comforts of the 21st century. It is a 46-year-old car. This one will stay mostly original because this car embodies the experience that somebody would have had driving one of these cars brand new in the 70s. I'd like to keep it that way. And so on this channel, we will do slight modifications, we'll do fixes, we'll tinker with this one as it needs it. I do already have some new parts that it needs. There will be maintenance videos on this car, but mostly this car will be a parts car, meaning not a stripper parts car like that one, but a run to the parts store and get components for its brother and sister, for its fellow midgets. So we'll have some POV driving videos in this thing, and it's second least complicated to explain. Can't really think of anything else. Moving on. So this one I've been slightly dreading just because of the amount of talking I will have to do to cover everything. Case in point. This car is not by any means original, and it never will be. This was my first midget, and due to the price that I paid for this and the little I had to lose, this thing got immediately ripped apart and modified. There was no desire for purest original retention with this car. For those people, watch the videos on that car. This car was my first midget, as I said, and because of that, it was my introduction into a lot of what yields the mechanical knowledge that I have now. It was my introduction into metal fabrication and welding. It was my introduction into motor building. It was my introduction into custom interior fabrication, working on gauges, a lot of wiring, which I do have to give credit where credit is due, and a lot of the work done on this in the realm of things that I didn't know about was done by my friends who had more extensive mechanical knowledge. But all that to say, this car introduced me to the passion that I now have for these cars, and also the possible monetary irresponsibility I have when it comes to these cars. It is a very special car. A lot has been done to this car. So let me run over it. I was originally, the reason I have my computer here, I was going to pull up my Excel sheet that has every part I've ever bought for this car and tell you what we've done specifically to the motor, because that's the most difficult to explain. But I think that's a great time coverage for another video. So right now I'm just going to run over it simply. From the transmission back, this car is basically factory. That's just because I haven't gotten there yet with my pocketbook or my mind. Transmission forward is the complicated part. This motor is the original 1500 motor that this car came with. When I first bought the car, I couldn't get it to run, so I was like, what's the harm in just ripping it out and tearing it apart and learning something? So that's what I did. This 1500 motor was fully built, basically as far to a race spec motor you can get a 1500. I had the block decked, the head decked. I had the block bored out for oversized pistons. It has a race cam. It has a new valve train. It has a timing cover centered around the clutchless fan design and double timing chain design of a TR6. It is a high compression, estimated 13.5 to 1 motor, which is about as far as I've ever seen someone push one of these 1500s. We'll go over that more in a future video. But this car has a built motor, and its purpose is to go fast on a track somewhere. It's never made it to a track. This has been a project long in the making. But I do expect to make it to a track this year with this car. We just have to do a few things first. One of those things is purchase some race gas, because if you don't know, when timing a vehicle like this, you have to run a high compression motor, you have to run high octane fuel, which is incredibly expensive. And being that at the moment I don't have a firstborn to trade in for some race fuel, this car sits idle. It's just another pretty face in the garage, but that will change soon. Those plans that are still in the future will come to fruition here on this channel. So very excited for that. Let's move on. This is my shed. Janky as it may be, it is functional. This shed was my introduction to working on these cars. This car, my first Midget, was built fully in here, from the engine build to the sandblasting and paint job to the suspension reworking. Everything was done in here. Originally, it was not a two-bay, ugly slab, open front shed. It was a single lengthwise shed that I put the one Midget in and had plenty of space to work. However, since then, I have acquired two more members of the family and needed the space. So I blew out this wall, laid this ugly slab. I want us to be able to build a car community around these cars and in this shed, because I want more people to experience these cars like I do. And working in an environment like this, which I believe a lot of you probably do. Not everybody has nice shops that with millions of dollars of equipment. Some of us have what we have. And this is a great example of that. And I want to show that all the work that you need to do can be done with tools that you can acquire and in a place that you don't have to spend an arm and a leg on. The driving experience of a Midget is very raw and feels very classic, and it is something that I want to bring to more people. So I'm excited for this channel, which is actually saying a lot, because I've always been terrified of this. I am very excited, to say the least, about this channel and about working on these cars with you guys. So let me know down in the comments below which cars you'd like to see worked on, what you'd like to see done, if you have any questions about these cars, and look forward to future episodes coming very soon with detailed plans of what's going to be done and actually starting work instead of all of this boring talking. If you've made it to this point in the video, I'm proud of you and I'm thankful to you. Please drop a like down below. I would like to get this channel spread ASAP. So I'll see you on the next one. Ooh, I hurt my toesies.